Hi all! Dealing with dozens of opponents, considering plenty of cover options and paths, keeping an eye on and anticipating enemy tactics. In any battle it can be seen how a tank commander is tasked with receiving and monitoring a colossal amount of information that could bring worthily results when completely used, even potentially reversing the tide of a battle. In this situation, you shouldn't pass up the opportunity to simplify the amount of stuff you have to deal with, since your crew and tank mechanisms are capable of taking care of those extra processes. Today we'll be talking about ground vehicle auxiliary systems and how they work. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Range finding. Battles don't always take place on the same city street, just as you don't always get a second shot. That's when the gunner comes to the rescue, whose skills have been diligently developing from battle to battle. To be more precise, we are talking about the range-finding skill. This is a useful feature that is easy to activate by going into the control settings, Tank Control, Rangefinder. Done setting the button? Now, in combat, simply aim your crosshair at your target and give the gunner the command to determine the distance to the target. The higher the skill, the more accurately the gunner determines the distance. There is also an inbuilt rangefinder on a number of vehicles. Its error of measurement is substantially lower, while the distance at which it works is almost 2 kilometers. In arcade battles, everything is simpler. Range is always displayed without activating its calculation and also equates to almost 2 kilometers. Now you won't have to waste as many shells. What else? The stabilizer. Shooting from both hands like Chuck Norris is not going to happen, but shooting on the move? Now that's easy. It will become much easier to keep your crosshair on the enemy, even on a really uneven road. And it isn't even necessary to activate this mechanism. It's always on, but it's worth getting acquainted with its features on your tank ahead of time. For example, there is a stabilization system on the Sherman, but it is mainly designed to quickly aim a weapon after coming to a stop, as opposed to shooting while on the move. Moreover, at a speed of over 15 km per hour, it turns off altogether. Meanwhile, the Leopard has a more advanced stabilization system that allows you to successfully shoot on the move at speeds of up to 25 km per hour. You can move even quicker, but the weapon's effectiveness will decrease. That should clear up all those inexplicable situations where the enemy should not logically be firing so quickly and accurately, but they do nonetheless. Let's continue. Remember how we said at the beginning that you can never take your eyes off the enemy? Well, this job can be entrusted to the crew, so you can focus on other things, like changing position, for example. It's called tank target tracking. This ability will especially please console tankers, but old-school soldiers will find it useful as well. Upon detecting a target, you can give the gunner the command to keep the crosshair over the target. In order to do so, it is necessary to assign a special button. It is not assigned by default. At the following path: Controls, Tank Control, Tank Target Tracking. As you hold the given button, the gun will automatically follow the target while you are busy with maneuvering or munching cookies. If the tank gun permits, this mode allows you to fire at close range in situations where you do not need to lead your target. It should be kept in mind that the effectiveness of target tracking will depend on the speed of your turret rotation, your tank, and the target itself, naturally. But seeing as you are keeping a vigilant eye on the enemy, they will hardly risk leaning out of a cover to smack you on the side. Now, a little bit about exotic features. Crosshair Lightning. In case you have a night fight coming up, yeah, they do happen in War Thunder. Crosshair Lightning and sight distance controls are provided. By default, there is no button set to turn the Crosshair Lightning on. It can be set at the following path: Controls, Tank Control, Crosshair Lightning. After that, you only have to wait until it gets dark and then activate it. Though this feature is not very useful for players in A/B mode, a ballistic marker is perfectly visible in the dark. It will facilitate aiming for RB and SB mode fans against dense thickets of bush. Hydraulic suspension. At first glance, you might think that the military invented it for fun, like for swaying awesome tanks to the beat of one's favorite music. In reality, however, this kind of system allows you to better adapt to terrain conditions. You can sneak a peek from behind hills for a shot, reduce tank height for stealthy maneuvers, increase the angle of gun inclination and elevation by tiling the suspension forward and backwards, and stand flat on an incline using side slopes. Buttons for suspension controls must also be set independently at the following path: controls, tank control, suspension control. It's worth nothing that this feature exists only in certain more recent tanks, and so there is something to strive for. And then… Your skills are always a determinant, there is no doubt about that. But competent use of all of the vehicle and crew features can substantially facilitate your battlefield success and lighten the load of an already tired brain, especially if you are a novice tank commander. Technology is power, and now you know more.